I lied.
Yo, what's up, grinders? How you doing? What's up, grinders? We gotta talk. We gotta talk. So, browsing the interwebs today. This quarantine, man. Quarantine killing. It's killing. It's killing us. So anyway, maybe a little late to the game. But I started going back, looking at. I saw some hypeness for some of the stuff that they showed for the Series X, and one of the things I wanted to say is I think that Microsoft is doing a great job with showing exactly what you're gonna get. Having Digital Foundry hands on, doing the breakdown, showing that. I think it's great. I think it's definitely they're ready to move on. Yo, what's up, Salty? How you doing, man? Social joins, what's up? And I do think that it's time. They're doing a good job of get ready for next generation. Sony still tiptoeing. They did their dry kind of spec run, but I don't think Sony's ready to go balls to the wall reveal of the PlayStation 5 just yet. When they still have games that will potentially sell PlayStation 4s. And, why have the gamers wait till PlayStation 5 to play those games? To have that even in their head. You want to keep the PlayStation 4 the driving factor because you're not ready to launch the PlayStation 5. Microsoft is on the other hand, ready to share. What's up, Shadow the Ghost? How you doing, man? So I've been going through some podcasts, listening to some stuff, and I hear, a lot of things of Gears 5 running on the Series X, instant buy. I was like, whoa, instant buy. I was like, whoa, wait a second. What's going on here? Because, I want to see what's going on. And I saw some screenshots floating around, but I went to go watch the video. And I'm just like I said before, we're in 2017 remastered. I feel so similar to how I felt with the demonstration of the X. And we're doing it again. It's the teraflop battle between the Protato and the X. What's up, Callie? How you doing, man? Pumping that Dreams, baby. Dreams is the shit. That's right. It is. So we'll come to the point right now where Microsoft's ready to show everything. Phil Spencer, like I said before, unzipped the pants, whipped out his 12 teraflops. He's ready to show the world. And he's not afraid, not holding anything back, being very transparent. So I have this Gears 5 on the Series X. Digital Foundry did their run through. And just seeing the spec sheet and the reception of how the power of this system is, of the Series X, and 12 teraflops, and it's the power narrative and all this other stuff, and then seeing it on paper, because I always said it's about the games. That's right, Salty. They did shut the Nintendo coming with the banhammer. It's about the games and how they utilize this hardware. And we've seen with the X over the last 3 years that, they basically jacked up the resolution and sacrificed a frame rate, a la Resident Evil, a la some Warzone, a lot of games. They just kind of jack up the resolution and the performance kind of suffers from it. I don't know why they don't just drop the resolution to have a better running game, but, maybe Phil Spencer's giving them the Phil Ness saying, I market it as a 4K console, I want that higher resolution, or they just can't give a damn about the extra power and the overhead, and they just up the resolution. I don't know. But it's something that we've been seeing. However, when we came to the Gears 5 and we saw the presentation of Gears 5 running on the X, it was definitely much impressive from what the S was. Definitely. Now we got something that's comparable to what, PC definitely looks a lot better, but the X kind of was holding it in there. So now we come to the next generation. The next generation.
Now, whatever your name is, get ready for the big surprise.
The Series X, right? So, like Phil said once a day ago, like once in a while ago, that, hey, let the games speak for themselves. So let's do that. Let the games speak for themselves. So you say double the power. You say 12 teraflops of Uza Machismo. Over 6 teraflops of the X. And now Microsoft has this thing where if they're going to rely on this thing, fool me once with the X, like it worked, but now they're trying to do it again. And they're trying to show old games running on new hardware. And they kind of akin this to the PC. Like, oh, PC does it. You know, if PC does it, then, you know, it's going to work on console because that's what the console dudes do. You know, they want that stuff, right? It worked on PC, scalability. Well, let's see how it looks. And I'm just going to put my chat up here, lower this thing, so I can see you guys. I have the chat up here. And we're just going to kind of go through this video of the Digital Foundry demonstration of this thing. And, you know, I have it set up like this. So, yeah. So one of the biggest things that, you know, we've been talking about is SSDs and things like that. And I'm going to mute them for a second. All right. So one of the biggest things, so as you see, Series X tech demo, okay? Now, the biggest thing is that the cutscenes are running 60 frames per second, right? As opposed to the 30 frames per second on the X. So the first thing that they show is the PC, but, you know, this is the X running against PC. And zoom in 400%, please, because that's all we'll be doing. Draw distances, obviously, are better on PC. You know, and you see that with the X. And then this kind of surface scattering of light and the 60 frames per second, as you can see, between the two of them. And again, this is not a tech discussion, okay? Because I think a lot of this lingo is more for graphics marketing. The subspace scattering lights and tessellations and shadows and yeah, zoom in on his nose at 500 degrees. This is PC versus the X, right? This, I don't even know what changed in this picture. And just mind you, I have been a very big advocate of the highlights magazines, if you remember back in the generation, of what's different in the picture. Yeah, I always love those kind of skills. So I kind of have an eye of like, okay, you switch something, let's see what's different in the two of them. So here we come now to the X. Now, one of the biggest things between the X and the Series X, I'm going to come right here, is the load times, which obviously with the SSD is running a lot better. I have a little question between how the X loads up, though, as opposed to the Series X. But basically, the Series X pulls in at 13 seconds on this part of the cutscene. And I don't know if they just did this to time it up, but the X comes in at around 32, I think. Yeah, it was like 30, yeah, 32. But it says like previously on Gears, and then they cut it to you. I don't know if that's some slick cutting or something where they loaded the game on the X and the Series X and on the X. I don't know. It was kind of strange. So, as you can see, 60 frames per second with the cutscenes, wonderful. Does anybody have $500, $600 ready to throw at the screen? Here it comes. Here comes the money shots. So,
take it back!
We're getting ready. That's right, Social. That's right. But people just don't seem to get that. They're ready to jump to next generation. But look at this. We're talking 6 teraflops versus 12. Okay? Here we go.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
And you got to hear them.
There's another visible blemish.
Wait a second.
More finesse.
Guy's talking like Bob Ross right here. Hear this.
Xbox Series X.
That's right. And also, while we're here in the cutscenes, if you kind of stop and look at the armor in certain sequences, you can kind of see that they are using the high-res texture pack, which does, you know, it's not like a world of difference, but there's definitely more finesse and detail in the armor, more scratches and other visible blemishes along its surface that really do look nice.
For the close-ups, it's really good in cutscenes. It's not like they were horrible looking or something on Xbox One X, but in the cutscenes, it really helps to have that extra level of detail instead of seeing like
I don't know what they're talking
from
about.
a texture's lower resolution.
Yeah, and so if you go ahead a little bit here,
the thing is if they didn't get the manuscript from them, like I just don't. I'm not seeing what they're selling.
We kind of see when the game switches from cutscene over to real-time gameplay, the transition is rather seamless now because, you know, the game is 60, the cutscenes are 60, whereas on Xbox,
now this is different here, where they show the
jarring.
foliage
I mean, it's
different
sometimes necessary to get
from
the cutscenes
further
looking
away.
as good as they are in games, but the fact
The
that
draw
this
distance.
is just unlocked now, that makes that you don't even think about you're switching between gameplay and a cutscene.
Exactly.
And one of the cool things is when you're actually looking above, I remember for the PC version right here, and you can also see on Series X, that the draw distance when looking down into this pit from the helicopters.
See, this is a
way
difference.
further
Look, this
on PC Ultra, which
he's no longer
Xbox
Phil the
Series
Lawnmower
X
Man
is
Spencer.
running here,
He made sure
you
that
can
there was
always-
trees there.
there's
He
not any of
planted
that
them.
pop in as he's moving down.
He made sure.
on the
He got cold out for Outer
Not only
World,
that,
so
yeah,
he had to make sure that there were he put down the grass seed.
But
But that's a benefit there. Now here's a hitch. I don't know what that's. That's a frame rate drop right there. I don't know. He's talking about smooth transitions.
That I don't.
And
think
here we
that
go,
was
zoom
even
in.
included
Go!
in the original game, so it's like a new feature that.
Holy shit!
It was curious. It was like in Gears 4 on select things, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But
Is this
and it
hyping
was
anybody
not in
up
Gears
yet?
5, but they added it.
You
in
can't
for,
sell new
this
hardware with
demo
old
on Xbox
games.
Series X, so any of those areas where you would maybe see
This doesn't work
the shadow
again.
not aligning correctly with the object or smaller
We
things,
need
like
next-gen
detail on someone's
exclusives.
face, it will
This
now
is
have
a
screen
perk.
space shadow.
This is a benefit.
Yeah,
But
and
this
then
is
also
not. This is
the-
not
yeah, this
the
room was
way
good,
to
you
do
know,
it. So
we-
I
they
really,
actually
really
added
hope
SSR in more areas,
they
so you
got
can
next
see
gen
it there.
exclusives.
Like on PC, as you would go down the settings,
Something
down
from them,
Ultra, it
because
would
we can't
reduce
do
the
this
amount
again.
of SSR that was put
We're
on
at the rate
screen
of limiting
by
returns right
saying
like, this
objects
is
that
just-
are more dull
I
or
just
matte
don't-
do not get screen space
I don't think this works
reflections.
again.
That's right. So only the most reflective objects had SSR, and here they sort of expanded it out, so you just see it. But so
And then they say
you know,
something
it's
with the
sort of
lighting
grid,
here.
but also it's just more accurate
With
and
the sh- with
precise.
the
The way it sort of fills
This.
in and around
Okay.
objects.
Here's the
is
X.
more in line with how light
And
it
Series
actually
X
works.
has some more
Whereas on
shadows.
Xbox One X, it's a little bit more general, so it just kind of fills.
I just don't
floods through
get
an
this
area.
part here.
Yeah, it's not
where they
picking
do
up
this.
the shadow as much on Xbox One X, and it's lower
Like
settings
this
that
part. Where is it?
They've added.
They actually
here is
zoom in on
the-
it. I'm gonna talk to these guys. Where's the part? Yeah, that's Crisis. They could run Crisis. But this, like, the upgrade from the S to the X, definitely could see it. Definitely. That's a huge upgrade. But this is, I'm thinking, yo, that X is looking pretty damn like a good deal right now. If this is how it's going to run these games. Like, here's the X, and here's Series X. Ultra volumetric lighting. Said, what console player? You know? What console dude? Tell me. Raise your hand. Oh, what console dude said he wanted, what is it again? Ultra volumetric lighting. Who?
No deal. Take it back!
And if it yields these kind of results right here, what the hell is it? What the hell is it? I wish I could zoom in 400%, because where the hell is it? They zoom in on it. Where are they zooming on it? Oh, is this it? Yeah, this is the part. Yeah. This thing. I almost fell out of my chair when I was watching this video. And they're trying to tell me that this is better? Where the hell is it? Oh, there was this part. Look at this. This is the power. It put a shadow underneath a ledge. Here we go. Wait. Maybe you can't notice it yet. Look. Wait. Money shot. Money shot.
Take it back!
There it is. Dude. Okay. This is not hyping me up. All right. So we say it, right? Let the games do the talking, right? It's a great looking game. Right? But where's the other part? Where's the last shot here? Is it this part? When he looks at the broken wall. He looks at the broken wall here. After he shows me the shadows. Yeah. It just seems like they're doing a lot of, like, I think if we didn't have Digital Foundry in our lives, like, I don't even know. And what's funny is that early on in this generation, when there was that resolution discrepancy, the hate towards the Digital Foundry, the dislike towards them from the Xbox group going, why are you ruining my games by bringing up the resolution? Like, basically their meal ticket. Now Digital Foundry's Xbox babies. Like, we love them now, right? We love them now because they explain what the hell we're supposed to be seeing. Because obviously you don't see it with the naked eye if you're just looking at it without them doing their jibber jabber. You know?
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
It's time to quit jammering before I start hammering.
And I want this part. Where the hell is it? I just don't like. We can't do this again. All right. I appreciate them showing this. Great job. Definitely much more transparent than Sony. But if Sony drops some next gen exclusives, this narrative is done. Done. If Sony comes out with a next gen exclusive, or along those lines within the next year, like it drops supposedly into Spider-Man and comes out with a PS5 exclusive that looks like incredible, this whole like the shaders, volumetric lighting, and all this hubbub and rigmarole of old games running on new hardware, dude, this is great. This is a perk. This is nice. But this is not the means to invest in a next generation console. I don't even know if people will buy graphics cards for this kind of product. I don't know. PC dudes. Anybody? And I guess were they running it at 120 frames? I don't know. Is it around 20 frames? I don't know. But here it is. This thing. Watch. Tell me what looks better. Huh? Where the textures go? Pause. Double the power. Zoomed in 400%. What are we looking at here? What is this? All right, Jez.
Don't be dramatic now, all right?
But what is this? What am I looking at? What kind of bullshit is this? You're gonna sell me next generation. Phil Ness 20 T-flops out his pants. What is this? I thought it should be reversed. Where do my textures go, Phil? What happened? Look. What happened? What? He has a little bit more of a 5 o'clock shadow? What are we doing here? What are we doing? Is he? Now my friggin' the internet thing. What is this? And now it's not even clear for me. Shit. But maybe the future is streaming on a 5-inch phone. Maybe. Because that's what it was in December. I was told that that's the future. So, people change their names to streaming 14 stream cloud. I don't know, like 14 millisecond lag. I thought that was the future, but now it's not. Now it's Phil taking away my textures. Tell me to buy a $500 box for 12 teraflops of power. The beast. It eats beasts for breakfast. I don't know, man. I don't know. But this is what we got, right? This is what we got. So I'm just like, I don't know when they zoomed in. And even, and I know it's not as clear, but even like looking at the trees here and looking at this stuff here, dude, like we're zoomed in 300%. Now sit back on a 6 feet, 8 feet back from your TV, a 50-inch TV, a 60-inch TV, and just like, I don't know. I just like, we can't do this again. And this is where I'm like, I really hope their E3 or whatever the hell their thing is that it knocks out of the park, because we can't do this. You know, and that's the thing. Sony didn't sell the Pro on upgrades to old-ass games. They weren't like, hey, the order looks better on the Pro. You'll want to play that again. No, they're like, here's Horizon Zero Dawn utilizing the checkerboard rendering supported by the Pro. Here's Spider-Man using the checkerboard rendering supported by the Pro. Here's God of War that's using the checkerboard rendering to support by the Pro. They came out with games that utilize the power and the techniques, not just the power, but the techniques of the system. Microsoft, on the other hand, took the Xbox One X and said, hey, remember that game from 2 years ago? You'll play it again. We added it sharper and better. You know that game. And I'm just like, I just don't get it. I just don't think we could do this again. It's going to be effective because I don't know how effective it was for the X. Obviously, not super effective because the X didn't fly off the shelves. You know what I mean? Like it didn't fly off shelves. So I don't know how effective that is. But this is where we come to the next topic, and where this like kind of like this ball of what we're doing here, it comes to fruition. Now you remember back in January, Booty was dropping bombs. Ass bombs from the Booty. And like he was dropping some bombs, and he's just like, you know, as our content comes over the next year, 2 years, sort of like PC, we'll play up and down that family of devices. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and the Series X, that they feel great. Yay. Rah, rah, rah. You know?
Put that cookie down now.
Put it down, man. Because this, here we go. And he just ran wild. He's all. This is the thing that I'm just like, I criticize them so many times. All. Not some passion projects and not some exclusives, but all. All of them.
Don't do that.
Will play up and down the family of devices. You got your 12 teraflop all the way to your 1.8 or 1.4 teraflop running the same game. And if we're gonna and their sacrifices will be made of, obviously it'll probably be a blurry mess on the Wii console. But when we look at this one, are we just gonna see like, well, the X runs it, and the problem is they just blew their load on the friggin' X, right? They said this is the monster. Aaron Greenberg wore the varsity jacket. This was the beast incarnate, and now Beast is coming out. Like, how many beasts are you gonna sell? Like, how many times are we gonna use the same narrative, and you're gonna show me shadows underneath a ledge? Like the rate of return right now, it's I don't know. And to sell it at a double, those increments, that is not a mid-gen refresh, guys. Like that Gears update, like this is not a mid-gen refresh. Like this is not like, oh well, it's a mid-gen update. No, this is a next generation console. You give me faster load times and better draw distances, and you kind of make textures look like smooth now instead of like very broken. Like this looks better than that. Like this is not a mid-gen. What's up, Brian V? How you doing? But this is, I just don't get it, man. Not again.
Put that cookie down now.
And then to think they're not going to have a next generation exclusive game that utilizes all 12 of Phil's teraflops. And all that in power that everybody's just been yelling about for the last friggin' week. That Twitter better just shut up. About this, who's powerful, this the power, the teraflop. I'm matched, my teraflop's bigger than your teraflop. Dude. I agree, Social, man. Like Digital Foundry, Microsoft's keeping them in business. Give them a bunch of things. Like, I don't even know half the bullshit. The VVRs and the tessellations and SSRDs. Who on the console is asking for this? Please tell me. Who's asking for VVRs and if you give a shit about that stuff, then go buy a computer where you could turn on all that shit to your heart's content. You could turn on VVR until it's double V VVR and triple D's VVRs. If that's what you want. But who came to console for this? I don't know who's asking for it. But Booty obviously is going to support the scalability. So having a next generation exclusive. So is this the kind of comparisons that we're going to be left with if you are an investor of a Series X? You go drop $500-$600 and is this your next 2 years of justification for the power of the system? Well, guys, Bleeding Edge, had it had the lighting underneath the guy's hat was off, but when on the Series X that I have, it runs it a little bit faster, but now he has a shadow underneath the hood of his hat. You see when he's moving around, there are sparks coming out on the X, but on the Series X, those sparks actually have shadows to them. Is this the kind of differentiation? Is this it? Exactly. Social. Nothing how the gameplay improved. Oh, Gears 5 is more responsive now on the Series X. No, it's these zoom ins at 500%, 400%, and this is supposed to get people's noodles wet. And Booty committed right there, where he's just like, dude, no next gen exclusives. So that's why I sit and wait. I sit and wait to see if Sony's going to do the same thing. Are they going to try to sell the PlayStation 5 based off of PlayStation 4 games looking better? Or are they going to sell the PlayStation 5 on its own merits with its own games from them, demonstrating the features and power? I can only go based off of history. And based off of history, they did that with the Pro. They demonstrated why checkerboarding wasn't even a word before. But the way they achieved similar 4K simulation with doubling the pixel, what the hell magic they were doing, their games looked incredible and sharp. Even people, put it this way, when you're on a PlayStation, you want to hit that share button. You want to share this out. You want to take a photograph. You want to do that because the game looks so good. You're like, I gotta share this. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta share this out. Like, you want to hit that. What's up, Jemiah? How you doing? And Glinza, what's up? Exactly, Glinza. Let's keep that talk with the PC gamers. PC gamers. Oh, and there was another thing that came out. Where's this? This is the other thing that came out. Holy crumb buns. Wait a second. I'm just like beside myself here with this stuff. Where the hell's this thing? I gotta get this. And that's the other thing. People playing Animal Crossing. Dude, this is what I mean. It's about the games. It's not about the all these spec things, RDNAs and TSSs and VVRs and ESDs and ABCs and no, stop. Because guess what? All that tech bullshit that they're putting in their console, you don't have any access to. You have no influence over. You cannot decide on what gets used and what doesn't get used. That's why it matters when you have a PC and I can control where my GPU goes, where my CPU goes, what is being used. I can monitor the temperature. I could add more cooling to push my processor higher. You could do these things on PC. You could manipulate the entire system to your heart's content. That's why when people build a PC, there's pride. There's something behind that. It's not just putting shit together and making sure it works, like creating Frankenstein. That's one aspect of it. But the thing is that you now could take that power and have purpose and make sure you utilize that power to what you want to play. That's the whole point of building a PC. What kind of GPU and CPU and RAM? What do you want to do? What kind of cooling system you're going to have? What kind of power supply you're going to have? All that stuff matters, and you have control over it. Who cares what they put into these consoles? The Hovis method, a cooling vapor cooling chamber, a big fan. Oh, they soldered this to this. People just like, don't let my shit break. on a console. Like, don't do the red ring again. Right? That's how the console guys are. It's like, dude, just don't let my console break. Make sure it works. Right? And so Cerny destroyed that. And Cerny, during his PS4 Pro reveal, didn't just flop out a teraflop number and have a bunch of heads talking about, wow, we did it, uncompressed pixels. He explained how they didn't use brute force rendering to achieve 4K. Instead, they used a weaker system, price conscious, to achieve something close to 4K, to utilize 4K displays. And we have that similar situation now, where he's basically talking about the same exact thing, where he's like, guys, I'm not throwing all my teraflops in there. We put a clock and speed, and it's going to be optimized to run things fast, and I'm going to get into that. But what I wanted to just point out here, just on that PC kind of bandwagon thing, with the rant thing, is this. And this was another thing. Again, console dudes talking about tech that they have no friggin' idea what the hell they're liking. You know what I mean? It's like somebody trying to look at a painting, going to an art show and going, oh, I could see the strokes of paint that they use. Oh, look at the curvature of the brush. And somebody's like, it's just a painting. You know? Oh, it's a nice painting. Oh, it's colorful. There's different appreciation, different detail. I don't understand the urge of this tech talk and all this other stuff in the console space. It makes no sense because you do not have any influence of that. You can't upgrade it. You can't control the fans. You can't do gots to that console. So who cares? Just make sure it works and doesn't break. All right? So now we come to this part right here. So remember this whole RDNA stuff? Like people say you do, like if you give a damn about it. But here we go. So AMD now, because remember, they're a business too. And AMD is trying to sell you their new cards. And what they say here is AMD's RDNA 2 next generation architecture, it's not the same as the X, Series X, or the PS5. It's better. Those chips that they're using are custom RDNA. It's custom to their console. But RDNA 2 is their own raw tech that's in their graphics card is going to be better than Series X. So everybody going like, Xbox has RDNA 2, PS5 has some RDNA, but maybe not RDNA 2. Whatever the bullshit is, the thing is that PC and the PC cards, the tech will be better, the speeds will be better on the cards, and they're not equivalent to what is inside the console. That's why this whole console versus PC talk needs to stop. Cease. Stop. That's why I emphasize this. Exclusive console games built for the custom fixed hardware in a closed system is the essence, I don't know how to spell that right, and primary purpose for console gaming. Exclusives matter. Okay? Exclusives matter because the exclusives built, and that's why I see a lot of people going, look at God of War running on a PS4 Slim. Look at Horizon Zero Dawn running on a Slim. Hell, look at Rise running on an OG Xbox One. Fuck resolution. Look at Rise running on an OG Xbox One. Right? Look at these games running on this. That's what happens when you have targeted console development. And this is something that goes way back to my grinds days. Way back, where I did not like the multi-platform approach that Microsoft committed its entire studios to, where console and PC gaming are one and the same, and the game runs on everything and all this other stuff, because it took away from the focus on the specific. Like, why would you spend all this research and development customizing hardware, a customized RDNA 2, just to be like, well, put it on PC day and date? Like, you're basically telling the studios to say, hey, work with this custom hardware. Oh, and also work on all these variations of PC day and date. Go. That's what their studios are dealt with. Maybe that's why games like Ori 2 had stuttering issues, because they tried to span it across too many devices on day one. They were saying like, oh, play it on the X or PC. The S is horrible. But then the X got frame rate drops. Like Salty, if you're still there, he was having problems with it. Maybe, and then that kind of goes, is there a quality control issue? Because they're spanning their development across multiple devices on day one. Halo Infinite's got to run on everything but the kitchen sink on day one. Do you think that they need to tweak it and target it for specific hardware like a God of War or a studio that Sony has that only has to worry about a closed PS5 or a PS4? A Microsoft developer has to worry about the whole gamut of PC games day one. Not only that, make sure it works on Windows 10 store. Oh, and make sure it works on Steam also. Damn. That's a lot to ask for somebody, especially if they're making a huge game. That's a lot of bugs on a lot of devices and a lot of configurations. Hence why Booty, as my last thing, says he's going to make himself some booty games. Booty games are flexible. They're malleable, just like shit. You know? You could move. Speaking of one, it's coming out at midnight. I think I'm going to want to try it. To see if it's a booty game, if it gets classified as a booty game, the Bleeding Out. But that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for big AAA games across the gamut. But look at this. RDNA 2 for AMD. So they basically go, there's a very good reason why the PS5 and the Series X have listed their architecture using custom RDNA instead of just RDNA 2. This is a point that AMD, this is not fanboys, this is not Xbox or Sony, this is AMD, the manufacturers of this, wanted to drive home and specifically insist on. They don't want gamers confused that the RDNA used in the Xbox and PlayStation with that of the upcoming Radeon cards. Therefore, the custom prefix. And to be clear, my source did not say how it would be different, but I did feel the implication was that AMD RDNA implementation will be superior. And this is what he says. This is WCC Tech, whatever the hell they are, the tech things. But you think AMD, and this goes to where I had critiques about Microsoft just cannibalizing their console business by just giving PC everything day and date. Microsoft cannibalized its consoles. It made PC gaming better than on the console, right? What's up to Floyd? Exactly. Jemiah, you think AMD is going to people are like, oh, you don't have to build a $1,500 PC. Just buy a $400, $500 console. It's the same thing. Well, let me explain something. If it is the same thing as a $1,200 PC and a $500 console, then you're basically proving to me that the little incremental upgrades you're getting from the X to the Series X are negligible. Because guess what? Those are the kind of differences and more of what you get from a PC as opposed to a console. Sacrifices will be made to compromise for the console. They do this all the time to get it to run. Okay? That's why the PC is untapped power. You could do whatever you want with that power. That's why it's silly to compare. And AMD is not going to cannibalize themselves. They're not going to go like, oh man, we're going to put better graphics cards and APUs and all that other bullshit in these consoles so that we don't sell graphics cards for our PCs. Because we're going to tell all our PC gamers, dude, the consoles have better graphics cards than what we're selling. Go buy a console. No, because that's not direct profit for them. They got to sell it through royalties of Sony and Nintendo and Microsoft. Why would you do that? No. Here's the raw graphics card that has better technology or better feature sets and more than the consoles. AMD's not going to cannibalize its business and say like, oh, the consoles are superior than anything that we have on the market. AMD's not going to do that. That's a Phil Ness move. That's a Phil Ness move, going like, yo, PC gamers, you get Gears Tactics exclusively. Hey, guys, cheer for me in the front if you love Phil and Xbox. Like, wait a second. Did you just announce an exclusive for PC and not these console guys who are wearing jerseys in the front? For FanFest? Xbox FanFest? I don't recall PC game FanFest. Oh, but you love oozing machismo on the stage and have them cheer your name. Phil, Phil, Phil. But you offer them a PC exclusive games and don't give them any console exclusives? That's cannibalizing your console business. That's putting Xbox Live for free on PC, where I could just go buy a $500 gaming laptop and talk to my friends and do everything that I can for the guys paying $60 on a console. Why? And have to pay for free-to-play online? Why? When everybody else, Sony and Nintendo, do it for free, Nintendo with a goddamn caveman internet online service makes you play Fortnite without a subscription. Caveman Online. Come on now. We just can't do this again. And that's why I was thinking about this. Phil. I don't have that clip anymore. I had to delete it when my friggin' hard drive did that. But I got this one.
I'd buy that for $1.
But, so when I was watching that video for Gears 5, and again, this is just what I've seen. Again, I only comment on what I see. I'm not going to sit here and go, they're doing, like make up stuff. I could only anticipate what the future might hold based off of what I've seen and what history has proven. Like, I had no idea that Phil was going to announce the Xbox at the Game Awards. But anyway, that's why when I looked at those graphics, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, I thought it was going to be a significant difference between the X and the Series X. Right? Yeah, Cerny is a sneaky one. This is what I'm getting into, Social. Exactly. So that's why I think Sony's approach to the PlayStation 5, whatever we could gather out of Cerny's Tech Talk, is the optimization and focus on speed and delivery, and actually something that could impact the way worlds are built, which is very interesting. It sounds like that's kind of the next step, to take away these kind of loading screens and, waiting for something, or something loading in the background, or when I turn left, and have something much more streamable and focus more on speed and the end user experience. Because taking away those textures or making that lighting smooth and so, really, how much does that impact your experience of a game? Not too much. But if the gameplay is smoother, or if the way the world loaded was different, and it modified games that way, that's kind of the way that he was speaking about. And that's why I do think that developers are more excited with the way Sony is trying to structure their PlayStation 5, irregardless of the whole teraflops, because as you can see, teraflops are not the be-all, end-all. And just by brute forcing, throwing in a big GPU doesn't really do anything. And not necessarily for the 12 teraflops, but just look what the 6 teraflops did. Like, did we live this world for over 3 years now? Did it do that much that really influenced by, what consumers just going like, screw that potato, I gotta buy an Xbox? And then I hear people don't care about the sales of Xbox. Phil don't care about the sales of Xbox. The issue is that if the next generation Xbox does not grow the market and does not sell, developers are not going to waste their time on an install base that's not growing. So you should care on how successful this console is going to be. That's my concern with investing into it. I'm not going to invest into a console that's going to get hand-me-downs from Sony, that's going to get games later because they are not the primary console for development, and not get features utilized that I paid for. If I spent $500 on the power of 6 teraflops, I should not be getting lower frame rates than a PlayStation. If I spent $500 on a 6 teraflop X, then why the hell is that running at 40 frames per second and the PlayStation 4 Pro at 28% difference of power is running my resolution faster because it's running it at a lower... And then I see people, it's like, that's because the X is running it at a higher resolution. Well, you idiot, they're running at a high resolution and sacrificing frames. It looks stuttery compared to the Pro. You got to look for optimization. It's not just about resolution. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was Twitter. I can't imagine that Phil has been that influenced and that disconnected that he really had to address this resolution narrative, because I don't know if it was people yelling at him in party chat going, Phil, we're getting killed out here with these 900Ps. We need something to fight back these Sony ponies. We got to fight back. Phil, we're getting killed out here in these Twitter streets. As Puerto Rock would say, these YouTube streets. We're getting killed, Phil. Phil's like, I got you. I'm just going to make a machine that just has high resolution so you won't have to fight those battles anymore, guys. And I'm going to make sure that we never lose that resolution battle again. All right, Phil? And Phil gave them this resolution thing. And now they're running wild, like friggin' naked in the street. And everybody's like, why are they running around in the street? Because there's more shadows on the under the chin. Like what is going on here? Like, can we sucker them to buying another $500 or $600 console? Samantha says, I believe the devs, and teraflops aren't as exciting anymore. It's not doing much to games. The SSD is finally giving them what they needed to change gaming. I agree. That's why now seeing the Gears 5 differences between the Series X and the X. First off, that narrative. Guys, like the video, share it out. We're almost halfway there. We're almost there. So, Joanna, it's just that when I saw the Gears difference, right? The two of them, I'm like, this is double the power. Zoom in 400 to see the differences, and even those differences are not even that impressive when you zoom in that much. And you look at that, and then I see Sony's presentation. I see what Cerny's trying to talk about, and talking about speed and optimization and all this other stuff. Whether it gets utilized, we'll see. But I could see why their approach might be more enticing to a developer than Microsoft's approach, where it's like put the biggest knife in the drawer and just throw it in the Xbox. Like just say we got the biggest, like, and the thing is that that's going to come as a cost. Like, Phil's not giving away these 12 teraflop GPUs for free, right? The X has dropped so much in price. The demand has dropped for it. The trade-in value is less than a Pro and a Switch. Phil Ness has run wild. Brian V, yes, I did have the old Windows Phone commercials, yes. And the phones were never powerful before, well optimized. That's why we used to do, yes. Exactly. But the phones were never powerful before, well optimized. That's why I used to do these Windows Phone challenges. Exactly. They didn't have optimized apps. It wasn't optimized. And that's the thing. It's optimization. It actually is pretty the difference. It's similar to like Apple and Android, like how Apple apps are optimized for their hardware. Everybody makes fun of Apple and the iPhone, going like, well, and meanwhile, Snapdragons were flying off the shelves. They couldn't add enough numbers after Snapdragon for an Android. But Android never really demonstrated that power because of either skins or just apps that weren't optimized to use all those different configurations of the Android phone, where Apple ran lightning speed because it was using apps that were developed for controlled, configured hardware that was optimized for that device. It didn't have to do with all these configurations of Android, and that's still a criticism of Android to this day, about not really optimized apps. It got a lot better than what it was, but that's why you got to focus on optimizing. And that's why I think the Cerny's approach is kind of like, guys, the graphical increases, we will see them. Now, you also got to remember, too, Sony's dropping from a 4 Pro to now a 10.3 teraflop. Like, the differential, they're both doing 6, but the thing is that Sony has different architecture in there that's working on optimization and how they make games, which sounds very exciting. I know that Microsoft has an SSD in theirs, but I just think they just have it for loading. I think Sony is really trying to do something different with the way the games are made, and we'll see. If Sony becomes the lead platform for development, you will see more games benefiting from Sony's infrastructure and Sony's things, which, coming from 100-something million, I just don't know, unless Sony completely drops the ball and prices their thing at $500-$600 and Microsoft comes under with more power and maybe some games and Halo looks incredible. Like, there's a lot of ifs. But if Sony just stays the course and just kind of drops, and I think the biggest thing is going to be a next-gen exclusive game. Exactly, Brian V. Yeah, even the fastest. I have a Samsung tablet. The fastest Samsung tablet still loses in benchmarks to an Apple, to an iPad, because it's optimized. Everybody makes fun of MacBooks and all that other stuff, that they still use these old. No, it's still an i5. It's still this. Well, it's because it's a closed system. Apple optimizes its system to run so that the end user doesn't have to keep throwing RAM and throwing speed and doing stuff and hardware and doing all that stuff in the PC world. Instead, their software and everything is optimized. It's a closed system. And that's the benefit of a console. That's why that's why God of War looks like it does on PlayStation 4. Like, this is like, I just get long in the tooth with the same example, but it's clear as friggin' day. I just don't understand how people just ignore that. And if you want to say like, oh, Xbox never had it, they did have it. And that's what frustrates me the most. The thing that frustrates me the most is that we did not start the generation like this. Phil, the same person, the same man who stood on stage wearing shirts, talked about Xbox exclusive games. Xbox, oh, they just want to make more money. Why? What changed about the exclusive from 2013 until 2020? What changed about the impact of an exclusive to a service, to a hardware, to anything? What changed? The only thing that changed, Xbox didn't sell. Sony still did exclusives. Nintendo did exclusives. Sega had exclusives. TurboGrafx had exclusives. Netflix has exclusives. Hulu has exclusives. Starz has exclusives. CBS All Access has exclusives. Let's keep going. You need to differentiate yourself from your competition. Even Sony, even Coke and Pepsi. Oh, here's our flavor. Here's our flavor. Here's our can. Here's our can. Different. Here's our bottles. You need to differentiate yourself. And we can't just do this. Yeah. Glinda says, good business model. Please the customers and the money will come. Bad model. Let's make money. Yeah, right? Exactly, Samantha. Same here. If Sony was like, hey, we're doing exactly what Microsoft's doing. All of our games will be on PC, day and date. You have all access to your friends list. You could play with all your PlayStation friends online, chat, invite them. That's doing Microsoft doing. Putting Horizon Zero Dawn on PC is not what Microsoft's doing. Microsoft sold their soul for PC. They took the essence of the console of the Xbox, everything that they did, and gave it to PC for free. Overnight. They just lifted everything the console stood for, everything the console had, and put it on PC. They couldn't even let the console have Game Pass by itself. Even that differentiated it from the PC. They're like, nope, we're going to go PC Game Pass. And then they go, well, xCloud, we're going to put xCloud on PC. Like, nothing. Now, Sony does the same exact thing. You can play with your friends. Their PSN is free on PC. All their games go day and date. Hey, stop buying a bunch of PCs and put them around your house on all the TVs, because there you go. One platform to rule them all. And then maybe have a Switch. But that's a big, tall order for somebody. I don't think Sony will cannibalize its console. If they do, that's suicide to their whole company. But if Sony wants to cannibalize their console, I'm going to go where I save money. You know, I'm like, you know, this whole world, like, I'm owning 4 consoles. I got to own 4 consoles. Yeah. You want to know what? This is my approach, and maybe, you know, people are going to probably disagree with it or agree with it. I don't know. But I'm going to just be real honest, because that's what I am. I'm just honest, and this is how I feel. Because this is what happened to me. And now I'm going to speak of how I feel and how I managed it. Because you want to know what? You're going to go crazy. Like I said before, I never owned a PlayStation 2. I had a GameCube. I had an Xbox. I never had a PlayStation 2. I think I owned PlayStation 2 for one night to play San Andreas. And then I returned it. I said I just didn't want to play. I never owned the PlayStation 2. PlayStation 3, I never got until halfway through where, Microsoft started doing a little, like, kiddie stuff, and there was nothing really coming out. Gears Judgment came out. So then I went and I got Killzone, Uncharted 2, and all that stuff. But their interface on PlayStation 3 was not good. Right? PlayStation 4, I didn't get until till 2017. To 2016, I think I got it. And then I never looked back. And I can tell you why. And this is just my honest, how I feel. When everybody's like, well, I buy all the consoles. You have a preference, okay? You do have a preference. Either you like the Xbox and the ecosystem and Aaron Greenberg and Phil Spencer, and you favor those dudes. And you like Xbox for certain reasons, like they care about the community, which I have to say, I don't know if it's fake, I don't know what it is, but Xbox definitely makes more of an effort to the community to kind of, hey, tweet them out, retweet them, talk to the fans. I don't buy executives. It's nice that they do that, but you got to be coming with the games too. Don't just give me a friendly face and say like, "Oh, I'm invested because you smiled at me or retweeted my tweet." I didn't invest in your ecosystem for that. But this is the thing. You could buy all the consoles all you want, and own them all. Then a lot of people do that, and I happen to do it over the course of time. But my thing is that if an ecosystem, if a console is satisfying your gaming needs, whether with new games, a backlog, accessories, things like that, you really need to think outside the box or really want to play something and justify purchasing another console in another ecosystem. For me, the Xbox did everything for me. It was where I played all my online friends. It had the shooters. It was a community. It was fun. They had new things like they evolved the dashboard. The Kinect was really cool when I got to test it out, and they let me keep it. I liked what they did with the dashboard. I liked how they added 1 versus 100. They had a whole slew of arcade games. The 360, and it just did it for me. Same thing for the Xbox. Online, Halo 2, it was enough. I didn't need anything else. There were tons of games I was missing out on Sony, of course. But the Xbox was it was good. I was fine. And I had this kind of transition in 2017, 2016 when I got the PlayStation, and I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm getting, I paid for a Pro. I wasn't going to pay for an upgrade to the X. They pay $500 and just say, I want to play my old games better. I'd rather pay $400 and play new games that I never got to play before. That's why I invested in a PlayStation 4 Pro. But when I got the PlayStation, I realized there was tons of games that never even seen the light of day on Xbox. There were games from all over the world and all different types of genres, and it was just opening up Pandora's box of just look at all this stuff. And there were just tons of games. It wasn't just the it wasn't just Halo, Gears, and Forza. It was just so many other games. These other games like Yakuza, like Judgment, like all these other kind of games that were there. That really was wow, Microsoft never even got these games. Dragon Quest was another one. I'm like, whoa, look at this. And a lot of cool games, even J All Stars, and just weird things, just crazy, just so much variety, right? Then they had the VR. Microsoft said they were doing VR. Phil kiboshed it. And now look at the relevance of VR now with that Half-Life game. That's great for VR. That's a banger for VR. Whether it comes to PlayStation or not, I don't care. The thing is that it justifies that there's still a need for VR. And the fact is that Sony is still in the conversation for VR because they invested in a headset and actually made games for it. And it was successful. I think 4 million sales of it for them. And Phil Spencer decided to just kibosh the whole VR narrative for Xbox. Just kill it. It's not ready. We're not doing it. Nobody's asking for it. Thanks, Phil the Axeman. Just nixed it. But people are asking to strap my 5-inch phone onto my controller and go to McDonald's and play Gears 5 streaming over the internet with McDonald's Wi-Fi. Or I'm on the toilet bowl and I'm playing Halo Infinite on my 5-inch screen with a strap on my controller. They're asking for that though, but they're not asking for VR. Okay, Phil, whatever you say. Hashtag Phil Ness.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, that's what they're asking for. But anyway, Phil just took his whole platform out of the conversation. Basically said, Don Matrick going, well, if you care about VR, go get yourself a PC. That's what basically Phil said. But the PlayStation has indie games, it has exclusives and the multiplats and VR. So like if the console takes care of you, and I see people just own an Xbox, and that's great. The Xbox does it for them. But I hear a lot of people go, well, I got an Xbox, but I also bought a PlayStation for exclusives. Huh? The fact that you need to, like, that means Xbox is not giving it to you. You know, I just feel like that means, like, that's kind of an excuse to be like, well, you know, I prefer Xbox, but, you know, it really doesn't have the game. Like, if Microsoft was coming out, because think about it. And again, you can agree with me or disagree with me. Share and like the video out so I get more input on my opinion of this. But, like, for example, Infamous came out, right? Crackdown came out. I remember the verses. What's better, Crackdown or Infamous? Here's our Infamous. Here's our Crackdown. Back and forth. Halo 3 comes out. Metal Gear. Here are my bangers. This is the battle of Metal Gear Solid 3 or Metal Gear Solid 4. Metal Gear Solid 4 it was versus Halo 3. Like, here's our bangers and our bangers. Like, there was this constant ebb and flow back and forth. You got your exclusive, I got my exclusive. You got your Mario, I got my Sonic. You got your Bonk, I got my Sonic. They go back and forth. And that's where this, like, the console edged from. Like, the thing is, it's like, so if you're like, well, and it's similar, Xbox did it too. They got Uncharted, we'll buy Tomb Raider for a year because we need a game like that to compete against Uncharted. Huh. So, like, if you're on Xbox, you're like, hey, I don't have to play Uncharted because I got Tomb Raider to play. Like, you know, Phil told me, like, Tomb Raider is like Uncharted, but, like, you know, I got my fix. And that's the kind of back and forth that you want to see. But the thing is if you're sitting there on your console and the console is satisfying your needs with the games you want to play and the experiences that you want, it will be kind of hard to kind of say, well, I'm going to buy another console and another ecosystem. Like, you really got to justify it. What's up, PlayStation 5 Ultimate Gaming Console? Nice name. But, like, that's the thing. Like, you need to kind of justify that other console if it's not doing for you. Like, I remember when I was I was just like, I'm not buying another console. Like, if the console's not doing it for you, then you buy it. Now, some people just buy the other consoles, but I feel like, you know, if there's lacking things, like, hey, you know, these single-player narrative games, Microsoft's really not giving us those kind of experiences, I'm going to go pick up a PlayStation 4. That's a testament to how great the PlayStation 4 is doing, but it's also a testament to that Xbox is not giving it to you. And that's a reason why you should go to, I say, hey, where are these kind of games? Sony has them. Where are ours? And then Phil goes, well, single-player games don't have the impact that they used to anymore. A dopey-ass response. And then retracts that with this hashtag Phil Ness. Exactly, Glinza. Right now, they got Neo 2, Final Fantasy 7, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima coming soon in the next few months. And Xbox has Ori and Bleeding Edge coming out tonight at midnight. They're games. And Phil will tell you, we got games. But are they the same type of games? Like, are they the same level of games? Those games right there, Neo 2 maybe a little niche. But those other three games, and not even Ghost of Tsushima, because I don't even know. But Final Fantasy 7 and The Last of Us 2, those are another level. That's where I'll put a Halo. That's why when people go, well, we have no games. When I say we have no games, I'm speaking about a Halo caliber game, a Gears caliber game, not Bleeding Edge. Like, you could add them up, Bleeding Edge, Ori. Not to say they're bad games, but come on, let's not be dumb here. They're not the same caliber game as Halo. All right? And when people say Xbox doesn't have any games, that's what they're referring to. Where's your Halo and Gears caliber games? We need more of them. And I'm sure, and that's a criticism that a lot of, and plays Persona 5. Like, you know what I mean? And like I said, Persona 5, I have it here. I still haven't played it. Neo 2 is really not my cup of tea. But the thing is that you can't deny that these games exist. There's a reason why people are streaming and playing Neo 2. There's a reason why, like, Bleeding Edge really doesn't have the hype. People just dismissed it from playing the beta, looking at it. There's some people that like it. I'm not going to say you shouldn't like it. But the universal appeal of it is really not there. Nobody's going to buy an Xbox tomorrow to play Bleeding Edge. You know? You know? And that's the thing. Like, and that's the point of what doesn't matter. And like I said before, what it matters is that you want your console to gain mind share, not only just from the customer, but from the developers. And if a perfect example is the Wii U compared to the Switch. These developers, CD Projekt Red, you think they even blinked an eye at the Wii U? But they put The Witcher on the Switch? Why is that? Bethesda put Wolfenstein on the Switch. Why? Because the thing is selling like friggin' hotcakes. The NPDs, it's been winning for the last 2 years. That's a hot console. That has an install base. Let's start making games and putting games on that console. That's what you want. That's why sales of the console matter. So to dismiss the success of Xbox because I don't care if it does, you're basically killing off the thing that you love. Because if it doesn't sell, developers are not going to turn into multi-platform deals and go like, well, let's put our game on the Xbox. Oh, it's still PC, so let's put it in PC. Devs are not going to do. They don't listen to Phil Ness and go, well, Xbox is PC, PC is Xbox. To them, it's different platforms. Doom Eternal, Glenda says, on the Switch. You think they would do that? Do you think they even considered putting Doom 64 on a friggin' Wii? Like, come on. Really? It's sales. It's mind share. And when you see the developer mindshare excited about the PlayStation 5, that holds value. And that's genuine excitement because it's people that are not in a highlight reel. It's not a bunch of talking heads going, wow, they did it. Uncompromised. They did it. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Oh, I wanted to jump onto the Xbox Series X because I'm going to jump onto the Xbox X because it's going to offer high fidelity VR. Todd Howard. Yeah. Remember that? Some rehearsed bullshit line. Oh, I'm bringing Fallout VR to Xbox X because it's going to support high fidelity VR. These are guys putting themselves on Twitter saying that they're excited about the architecture and what PlayStation 5 is doing. Some might be devs that are working on it. Some might be devs that are third party. It's been all over the place. But that does hold value. And then just to close on this, but just like Tasted said, I don't see them investing in AAA games because of Game Pass. They would lose their ass. And he's right. That's why we call them booty games. They're booty games. And that's the underlying factor to this whole thing. Booty said that they don't expect first party in the next 2 years. But then I say, what kind of games are they making? Are they going to make a God of War Uncharted-esque game? I said this yesterday in my other podcast about yesterday's show, Hellblade 2, and how he's like, well, if it's just like the scope of Hellblade 1, that's a success. So I don't think Hellblade 2 is going to be a $60, 40-hour game like Microsoft's response to God of War. Like, here's our God of War. Is going to be Hellblade enhanced. Probably look a lot better. I'm hyped for it. I liked Hellblade. But it was great for what it was. A $30 graphically intense looking game that told a great story. Oh, really? Valve, Microsoft, and HP are working on a VR headset. Phil says nobody's asking for VR. So let's see. Let's call more Phil Ness. I can't wait to do that video. I want to hear the same people cheer for VR that said VR sucks. Because, if Phil says VR is in, all of a sudden the disciples will jump. But anyway. We need, and also too, Quanimo, that's your name wrong, but, sorry about that. Realistic characters, that's the thing. I just showed early on this video Gears 5. That is the best looking game that Microsoft has released. And you saw the differences in that game. That is I think that game looks better than whatever Halo turned out to be. Halo has a different art style. Gears has a realistic, gritty look to it. That is a graphical fidelity between the two of them. And that's the best, the creme de la creme of what Microsoft is offering, and that's what you saw on the Digital Foundry video. Microsoft needs more games. They need next-gen games that have realistic-looking graphics to demonstrate the big power narrative that they ensured that they had. They put 12 teraflops in there. Don't just say, "Hey, I bought this great I bought this great thing, but I don't know how to use it." And that's the problem I have with them. It's like I just think they overcompensate and just putting extra power in there that you're going to pay for as a consumer. Unless Microsoft wants to take a monstrous hit. And I want to see if they slap a $600 maybe. I don't even think that much. Maybe $500 price tag on that Series X. And Sony comes in with the Cerny-ness, and going, hey, we're achieving better load times, this and that. And look at some amazing exclusive games only playable on PlayStation, and drops it for $400. Dude, Microsoft's in big ass trouble. Lockhart or no Lockhart. If Cerny, and we're seeing it to this day, just look at Resident Evil 3. Just look. Yeah, it's a demo, but there's a problem. And if you paid $500 for a premium experience, you don't want to see titles going, there's something wrong with the Xbox X version. Runs great and smooth on the Pro. Those are not the headlines that you want to see. When you paid $500 for a premium experience, wow, they did it. Uncompromised. That kind of hubbub that you got, and you handed $500 over. That's not what you want to see in the headlines going, Resident Evil runs like trash on Xbox, there's a problem, but the PS4 Pro runs at smooth 60. The Pro-tato. A console that's $100 cheaper than the X. That's not what you want to see. Well, it runs at a little bit high resolution, but there's something wrong. It's stuttering all over the place. That's a problem. Glinda says, I hope Microsoft gives the devs they acquired some money. Yeah, maybe to give them money. Brian V says, it's pretty embarrassing when Kojima Death Stranding, using a completely new system he's never touched before, releasing with... You want to know what? I know. But the thing is, Brian, and this is what I kind of always go on. Who's that person that Kojima, that identified Kojima for that deal and made the deal with Control to get the DLC? And who's that person over at Microsoft? Who's the person that's looking at a game going, I want this on my platform? Where's that person at Microsoft that says, hey, Marvel, hey, developer, Wolverine, Xbox exclusive right now. Let's go. Funding. Who's that person that said, make an Iron Man VR game? Who's that person that said, hey, Let's do Insomniac to get Spider-Man. Who's that person that said, hey, go make dreams? Where are those people at Microsoft that to identify what the fan base wants and deliver it? And not to say that Bleeding Edge is a bad game, but who asked for that? Who said that game needs to be on Xbox? Who looked at Grounded and said, oh yeah, that needs to be on Xbox? Because if those people are doing that, I'm concerned. Because those are not the games that people are asking for. Right now, people are looking at that and going, oh, they're pacifier games. They're passion projects. They're not the real games. We're waiting for the bangers. The big ones are coming. We've been waiting for a long-ass time. You know, and Phil bought himself a lifeline when he announced the studios. But look at the studios that he announced, and look what Booty said. They're not making 40-hour AAA games from their hardware, from their purchases. They'll go to as fast as they'll go as much as AAA they can get. What the hell does that mean? Do you think when Sony bought Insomniac, they're like, okay, let's see, we got 300 people. We want you to break up in groups of 10 each and make a bunch of passion projects. I always wanted to make a Tetris clone. Go ahead. I always wanted to make an animal simulator. Go ahead. Oh, I always wanted to make a space game. Oh, go ahead. I always want to make a game where I live on Mars. Oh, go ahead. How many guys? 5 games. Who else? What's the make of them? I want to make a game where I dress up every day and I will pick different outfits. Go ahead. I want to make a game where I loved Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I want to make a game where I'm surviving, but I'm like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids small. Go ahead. Like, well, I guess, dude. Anything to go in Game Pass. We need games, guys. We're running out of announcements. I don't want to keep buying, spending tons of money to get Devil May Cry 5 in our service. No. That's too much money. Let's make some of these homegrown indie games from our first-party studios and dump them into Game Pass. Yippoo! And we're not going to market for them. We're not going to do anything. Bleeding Edges is coming out tomorrow, midnight. Hey! Anybody? McFly, anybody?
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time.
Bleeding Edge, anybody? Tonight, is there any marketing, hype, anything? It just shows up in Game Pass. You don't even have to blink an eye. Here it comes. I guess that if that's exciting, yay. But it doesn't move consoles. It doesn't gain developer mindshare. And devs are not going to work 5 and 4 years on a game and say, here you go, Phil, put it in their $10 a month service. They're not going to. Brian says, I see lately that they're trying Phantasy Star, but I believe Sony has a bigger mindshare among publishers. They need to save that ninja money and invest, ninja money, in third-party deals. I agree, Brian. And that's the thing. When people wait. If Microsoft is making games that are going to take 4 to 5 years and these bangers, like Fable and Perfect Dark, all these games that people rumored say they're making, and you know it's going to be 4 to 5 years, and you're going to still try to push hardware, you didn't stop trying to sell me bullshit, right? You're still trying to sell me stuff. But you're trying to sell me based on faith in you. You're not really giving me what I want to sell me on your products. So what you do in the meantime is you do partnerships. You identify some games. You buy timed exclusives. You do that stuff to pacify the time while your games are being worked on in the background. You don't spend your money on Ninja and Shroud. You actually take your money and say, hey, Final Fantasy VII, that will be huge if we have that on our platform first. Go get Final Fantasy exclusive on Xbox. Do you know how many waves that will create? But that's the kind of shit they need to do. That'll piss off a lot of people. But that's what they need to do. You got to crack a few eggs to make an omelet. And let's see what Outer Worlds 2 looks like, Brian. All right? They had the Outer Worlds in the palm of their hands. Exactly. And everybody's like, Outer Worlds. Microsoft did nothing for Outer Worlds. Right? Microsoft did nothing for Outer Worlds. They put it in Game Pass. That's what they did. That was their perk. Right? That was their perk. But Microsoft didn't find that game and say, hey, Obsidian, we're going to fund Outer Worlds because we believe that belongs on our platform. We want that game on our platform. They didn't identify and support and publish that game. Instead, they bought Obsidian right when they were about to launch it and said, hey, put it in Game Pass. We'll use it as an example of the kind of games that we'll put in there. Really? And that's what they did. Microsoft didn't fund that game. Phil didn't go over there, Obsidian, and identify, hey, this will be a great game that my Xbox core audience would want. We don't have a lot of RPGs, but this will be great to get this kind of game on here. Like, that's what I want. I want to know somebody on Microsoft is shopping around for us and giving the fans what they want. And you talk to Xbox fans, a lot of them are not happy. They're just holding on to dear life, hoping that these games are coming. And they're pacifying and working with the games that they're getting because you can't complain when you get games, right? You had nothing, and now at least you're getting some games. They're new IPs, but they're really, really, really not the games that you want. You want some Sony and Nintendo caliber games to compete with your competition. You want to have that stuff. You do. Especially if you're buying a premium hardware device. That's the thing. They're not trying to sell you some hokey dokey stream box. They're selling you a $500 premium machine with hokey dokey games. That doesn't match up. If you're selling, and now with the double the power, you know what? With great power comes great responsibility. You got 12 teraflops now from Microsoft. Let's see what you do with it. Would I see what you did with Gears 5? That don't cut it. You want to be the big dog in town with your 12 teraflops? You better make games to use that. Don't show me Grounded. Don't show me Sea of... Don't show me no hokey dokey booty games. You show me big AAA games that match up with your competition and flourish on the power of your box. Let's see. They were supposedly going to do it last year. Oh, E3 all to themselves. They did nothing. They did nothing. Now, let's see. I said this yesterday. They needed to use last year's E3 to get the ball going on some of these games. They didn't. They showed third party and called it a day. They should have started that narrative last year. Now, Sony's going to be talking right next to them, and it's going to be really hard to get through the messaging when Sony is going to do that. And I'm just waiting. Again, we don't know. If Sony's going to do cross-generation, they might do it. And Super Lucky Sale 2 on Series X. That studio is going to shut down. Microsoft might buy him now. They're in the yellow and the red DEFCON 5. So Microsoft might buy them. That's what they like to buy studios when they just. I think Obsidian guy is like, inXile's like, I was gonna retire and quit, but Microsoft bought me, so I was like, okay. I was like, oh, great, inXile, bangers. But anyway, yeah, shout out to all the guys that came today, man. I'm gonna wrap it up today, but I really wanted to go through that Gears 5 difference and just go. I feel like this is 2017 remastered again, and I'm really hoping that they show some games. Because anyway, if I get a Series X, or if I'm able to play these games at the highest fidelity on my PC, I get to play more games and stay invested and interested in what they're doing. Because right now, I'm not interested in what they're doing, and it just grinds me up that I spent years supporting this console, this brand, to just see it turn into what it has turned into. And it's an excuse after excuse. And the thing is that they built this brand based off of moves that I'm telling that they need to make. And a lot of you guys are saying the moves they need to make and the games they got to make. These are the things that they did. This was the expectation I had of them. And for them to go this route, and on top of that, talk about all this other stuff and still try to tell me that they still care about the console by giving me a powerful console with no games to utilize that power. Everything's going to be scalable for the next 2 years from their studios. What the hell does that look like? Shade. Oh, look, there's a shadow under that tree on the Series X. The shadow's not there on the X. Oh, my God. Amazing. Meanwhile, Sony has a game looking like Horizon Zero Dawn, the sequel to it, and they go, hey, this is only done on the PlayStation 5. Look at this. I could see those clouds. Look at this. See those that mountain in the distance? Watch this. 360. Look, that mountain's still there, full textures and all. Whoa. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the Sony shot, because once Sony commits to that, I know where I'm going, because that's where I go. And the stuff that Sony's saying before this whole thing seems like that's the route they're going to go. When Booty's talking about not AAA games and all that other stuff, whatever Microsoft's been saying, and you guys said it in the chat, like, Game Pass is the underlying factor. So I don't know if these games even going to exist in this Game Pass world. That's why I just don't understand why release the most powerful console, probably the most expensive console, when you're not going to have, for scalability, because they just think it's a PC. They're treating their Xboxes like graphics cards. That's the difference. Like, they're like, oh, well, you know what? The X is the 2080, and this is the 1080, and the Series X is the 2080, instead, and everybody will just play what they want on whatever configuration that they want. What's up, Merc? They'll just do that. And that's how they're treating that. Merc, I saw you going out there with the whole 2080, man. Did you see that RDNA shit, Merc? I don't know if you saw that stuff. Where, like, AMD, there's like a rumor AMD's like the RDNA 2 that's in their graphics cards is better and not the same that's in the custom chips. I'm like, do you think that AMD really would cannibalize themselves, going like, oh, we're going to put better graphics card in these two consoles that we got to pay royalties to than our own computer graphics cards? Like, come on. Nobody's doing that. AMD's not going to cannibalize themselves. Exactly. They basically kill their own business. Nobody's going to Phil Nest their way out of their own business, dude. Phil said, to hell with the console. I'm putting games everywhere. I don't care what it does to the console. They'll figure it out. I'll just keep making them hardware, and they'll shut up. But I realized he decreased his demand for this hardware by just devaluing everything. And everybody thinks Sony's going to do the same thing. Oh, Sony's going to be, yeah. You know that PlayStation 5, we'll just make it for those people that want a 5, but we're going to take all the features, all the services. We're going to make them free on PC. We're going to put all games on PC day and date. You don't even need the console if you don't want it. There's only one dumbass company that did that. It starts with an M. Guess. But anyway, we scaled down here. That's right, Jeremiah. And then Brian V, last comment. He says, I also love that everyone's bashing PlayStation for their 100 games that's supposed to be backwards compatible. I bet those 2 games are 100% better than any Xbox One games. Yeah, like, again, backwards compatibility, it's a neat feature. It's great. But that is not the decision. Like, if one wasn't doing it and one was doing it, maybe that's a differentiating factor. But the fact that they're both doing backwards compatibility, that's a bonus. That's a perk. See, and that's the difference between when you look at the Xbox, like, they're like looking at Gears 5 going, look, it has a shadow under the ledge on the Series X. Oh, I'm sign me up for the Xbox Series. Like, you're going to drop $500, $600 because of that? You got it's the new games that utilize the power. Oh, and I saw somebody on Twitter go, nobody would ever just put a game on a next-gen system. That is just selling to a small install base. They would never throw their game. Like, where the hell are you, under a rock? Only on Xbox. Like, Killer Instinct, that wasn't on no 360. Dead Rising 3 wasn't on no 360. That was an install base of 0. You take hits. You put games only on next generation to move consoles. That's the sacrifice of moving to next generation. They left 88 million consoles behind, and they said, hey, here's Killer Instinct on Xbox One. Only could be done here. That's the message you send. It only could be done with the power, technology, and features of the new system. And that's how you drive the unit sales. Like, where have you people been? I don't understand where you people come from. It's the same friggin' company. This is not Microsoft's motto since the beginning of time, because guess what? If this was it, they would never even have an Xbox 360. Xbox would never exist. Exclusives don't matter. Xbox was made by Halo. Exclusive game. So you think Microsoft should have launched the original Xbox with Halo and go, wow, Halo should be on everything. Put it on the PlayStation. It had an install base of like 60 million. Put it on PC at the time. No, Microsoft said put Halo on Xbox. It's the Halo box. Xbox was created because of an exclusive. So don't tell me exclusives don't matter. Because if you're a true Xbox fan, you know the power of exclusives, because that's probably what turned you into an Xbox fan. Holy shit. That's why I don't even know some of these people. I think their Twitter heads are bigger than their real like beliefs in I don't think they believe what the hell they're selling. So-called Xbox fans like, what the hell? Where did you come from? I bought a 360 because of Gears 1. Exclusives don't matter. They should be everywhere to make more money. What? Phil, stop going to FanFest because Phil's spiking the juice. I don't know what happens, but if you go, thank God there's no FanFest this year, because Phil can't redose everybody with some bullshit. Because I don't know what the hell goes on there, but Phil just gives some Phil juice and make people go crazy. But anyway, I'm digressing. I gotta wrap this up. I gotta go play some games before I go to sleep. But anyway, Grinders, thank you very much for tuning in. Share, like this video, subscribe that button. I see my subscription guys. I went up a couple of them. Thank you so much. Keep hitting that subscribe button. Exclusive talk, I'll talk another friggin' hour, Glenza. Hit that subscribe button. Like this video, guys. Join the Grindhouse. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good-ass year. I do some streaming stuff on here, and I do my What Grinds My Gears.
I'd buy that for $1.
Jeremiah, it's for you, baby. I'm out.
First on what it means to play these games on your phone. So we thought about how can we get as many people playing on a phone as possible.
Oh yeah. And that's how we're gonna end it, baby. Oh yeah. Remix. There we go. Remix, baby. Thank you, guys. I'm out.